So earlier we have seen like what all things we use GitHub for, right? We know like we can literally find API keys and everything in GitHub, and also we can literally try to take over some organization names and XYZ stuff, right? But the thing is, in GitHub, the main purpose of GitHub is to have the code management, right? Where they can literally have code in a single place where they can perform all the CI/CD pipeline and everything, you know. So the code, when it comes to a code, right? When it comes to a code, the code can be your front end code, right? It can be the back end, okay? It can be written in any language, like the front end can be Node.js, the back end can be written in Python, right? And it can be in Java or JavaScript for UI or whatever, you know. So GitHub entertains everything, okay? Like GitHub can store your all possible code with themselves, okay? So this thing you have to understand, right? So the thing is, once you have a code, right? Once you have a code, let's say you write it in front end, right? Let's say you are an React developer, or let's say you want to build a website, you write things in front end, right? And let's say if you are a Java developer, you want to like have a basic core logical layer where you implement things in Spring Boot, Java, whatever, so all those things are there, right? All those things are there, and you can literally store it in GitHub, okay? So the thing is, when you do coding, when you do coding or something like that on a production level, it is not a one file, you know like you can write hello world in like 2 or 3 lines, which is fine. But when it comes to a production grade application, it is like more than that, you know so there can be like 100 files, 200 files, or even 1,000 files in a project, okay? So let's just take an example of an npm project, okay? And when I say npm, it is nothing but the node.js project, okay? So what happens in this node.js project is, let's say you want to build a front end, let's say you want to design a front end, or let's say you want to do anything on front end, and then the node.js is the most picky language that is out there nowadays, okay? So we have to like understand where exactly we have to look for the bugs from an attacker point of view, and we have to literally understand how this whole thing works, right? Because then only you can scale it from there, right? If you don't understand the basic fundamental of core, or basic core of this thing, then it won't work for you, right? So the thing is, let's say if you have any code base, right? So it can be anything like front end, back end, or irrespective of any coding language, it won't run, right? If you just write a code and do nothing, it will just stick there as simple as a text file, right? So what exactly you have to do is, like, people usually compile it and then run it, right? So every code usually follows these two approach, like compile and run, okay? And there is a need of compile, like there is a need of compile, because once you do the compilation part, right? Once you do the compilation part, it downloads all the required components, okay? Because what usually happens is, let's say if you have a big production grade code, then most of the things comes from predefined libraries or jars. If you are not getting it, like whatever I'm saying, all fine, all good, don't worry about it, I can explain you literally more on Zoom calls, okay? But understand the analogy here, like how this whole thing works, right? Because the codes, like nobody writes like hello world code in like production or somewhere like that, they simply have a big set of code, which most of the time are redundant. When I say redundant, like there are already jars or dependencies available there, which you can simply use and you can run it, right? So the compile time is for that purpose, where you will download all those components, right? And then your code will start to do working, right? So the thing is, the catch for an attacker here is, like, we know, right, at compile time things are getting downloaded, right? This is the only information for an attacker that is required. Now our mindset should be like, in such as in such scenarios, our mindset should be something like, where exactly the data is coming from, right? Do we have any control on that repo, right? Do we, like, can we update the data that is getting pulled, right? So all these things, like, should be the question that should be coming to your mind. But I will tell you like how this thing work here, okay? So let's say you have a node.js code, right? And the data mostly that is getting pulled are from public dependency repo, Okay, and when I say public dependency repo, that means for Node.js there is npm repo, for Python there is pipy, you know like if you are a Python developer, you have seen like you must be doing pip install and then followed by a module name, right? If you are a Node developer, right, then you add a package JSON and dependencies in there, you know similarly all those things are getting downloaded from somewhere, and that somewhere we will see how does that thing look like, okay, from attacker's point of view. So let's say you have a Node.js, right, where you just written a hello world code, okay, and then that hello world is dependent on ABC, right? Ideally, the hello world won't depend on anything, but let's say you have some more logical expression or something like that, where you will need something which is like a ABC or anything, and that is coming from somewhere else, right? So that will be mostly coming from npm repo. Okay, so let's just take an example of Python. Like I have seen people using Python, so it will be more clear. Okay, so let's say in a Python code you are calling google.com, right? So basic thing that you will be writing is request, right? You will just call a request and then it will do it for you, right? But even to run this request, right, you have to write import request, right? Those are those three headers that you have seen in all the possible code. Like in C++, you write hash include conio.h. In Python, you write import request, import JS, import this, import that, and to make that run, you have to do this pip install request, right? Until or unless you don't do this, this won't run. The whole code won't run, right? And this is the gray area, right? And this is the gray area. So now why I'm calling this a gray area is because things, when you do this, right, pip install, things are coming from public repo, right? I can also run this command pip install request. You can also run command. Anyone on this planet earth can run this command, and it will download request module on your machine, right? But you have to understand like from where exactly these requests are coming, right? When you do something, right, pip install, let's say in below I have shared like pip install request mayur, right? Then if there is something with this name request mayur, it will automatically install on your machine, as simple as that, right? So same thing happens for all the possible codes, right? Not only just Node.js, not only Python. It is like I have seen like tons of public repo out there, and actually most of the attack vectors, in bug bounty or whatever you are doing, in pen testing and all, if this is not controlled, it can have a very very severe impact. Okay, even if you have seen or if you have been following bug bounty and all whatever, then there are some bugs which have literally paid like more than like $30,000 or something like that, just because of these glitches. Okay, because you have control on what is executed on the people machine. Okay, but this is not that easy. Like I'm just giving you a gist like what can be the scope of this. It can be also like very very low, it can be of zero impact as well, if you're just finding something which is not required, you know so that thing is there, definitely, and I will show you like how these things work and how you can find this one with followed by a working demo. Okay, I hope this is very clear. Okay, I will just brief things again. You don't have to like worry about all this thing if you don't get it. All fine, all good. From an offensive approach, all we need to know is this thing, right? Like requests are coming from some repository, and for npm repos it is coming from npm js or whatever, for node.js. And similarly there are other repos from which the modules are getting downloaded. Okay, so that is the thing on a high level. And yeah, let me just share you the other screen. So how does this repo look like, right? Like I've been telling you all the theory till now, so let's just see how does this thing look like. Okay, so let's me just go through the npm repo. Okay, so if you see, this is the npm js. Okay, let's not go into the repo directly. I'll just show you, just take an example of any program out there. Okay, so let's say these are the organizations, right? At the end, nothing is there more than a code, right? So these guys are also hosting some code or maybe on GitHub or wherever, it can be Bitbucket, it can be GitHub. I'm just taking GitHub as an example. Okay, so if you really want to attack or if you really want to increase your scope, then you can go for maybe Bitbucket or whatever, in your own organization, wherever it is. So What you have to do is, let's say, let's just take example of this chain network. Okay, or we can just open this remotely, whatever is fine. Okay, so uh, we will just go through their GitHub organization, right? We will just see how their GitHub repo is maintained. Okay, so we know, right? We have learned all this thing. So let's say this is their code base. Okay, and then what you have to do is you have to see the repositories, right? You have to see the repositories. Okay, so there are around like 50 projects that they are managing, and even on top of it, if you see the languages, whatever I have told you till now was Python and JavaScript. So JavaScript usually refers to the UI. Okay, so whenever you see something like JavaScript and all, you can just simply click on it, so that it can literally give you only repos which are of JavaScript. So let's say these are like 18 repositories, right? So let's just open the first one. So just okay. So also guys, like you have to keep your eyes open. Okay, and when I say keep your eyes open, what does I mean is, like if you see all this thing, if you see all this thing, it doesn't mean like all of them are actively like maintained by them. It can be something like a clone of another repository. It can be something which they have forked and they are not using it. you know so that activities you have to take care. And this, the first one and the others, how it is different, right? How these are different, I will tell you. If you see the first one, right, the first I clicked, here you will find a logo. Like most of the things are, till this point, whatever I have observed is they have this kind of logo, right? If the company is maintaining it, if they are actively like having it, or that belongs to them, like 99% of the time you will, not 99%, I won't, I don't know the even the exact number, but most of the time you will find they will have something like this, right? Their own logo in the repo, right? If you just go to something else, right, if you just go to something else, let's say this one. Okay, it is also having their logo, so which is very good actually. Okay, so let me just pull up something else. Okay, so most of them are having logo, so that means it is actively like fine, like this is the right repo that we are looking for, right? So let's say, what is this? Uh, okay, so it is forked. So that is the thing. Let me just check the another one. Let's say china network. So okay, so let's say this is the china network. So they have this logo. Okay, you have to cross check, guys, like that is the same organization or not. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's green, it's all fine. Okay, so here you will see the JavaScript. Let's just search for the JavaScript core registry UI. Okay, there they have a logo, but that is the thing, like how this and this is different, I will tell you. Okay, how this and this is different. So if you see, this is forked from somewhere else, right? That means it is not full-fledged managed by this particular org. They have cloned it from something which is known as how. you know and here if you see, they don't have any forking or anything like that. It's like plain vanilla code, whatever they have written. Okay, so that's the difference. That is the difference. And one more point that I said, right? How you can figure out whether they are actively maintaining it or not. So see, here it is forked, right? What does the fork means? Like they are just copying from somewhere else and doing something else if they want on top of it. Okay, or even they can be just a spectating. So that means this is not like fully controlled by them. Okay, so what you have to do is, I would just suggest to just stick to the core repositories where they totally actively engage on everything. you know so let's say this is the core registry UI maintained by China networks. Okay, and we know that this is a UI application, right? Because we clicked that JavaScript, right, initially. So the thing is, where you can find dependencies, right? Where you can find dependencies. For Python, if you guys have like observed carefully, there is requirement.text file, right? Similarly, in Node.js, there are files which are named with package.json. Okay, So if you open this file, you know, you will find all the possible dependencies and everything. Okay, so the thing is, if you see this thing, right, if you see this thing, it will tell you like this is a React app and all, which is fine. Okay, you don't have to worry about all this thing. So all you have to do is check the name, right, check the name, and check if this thing is there on public repo or not. Okay, when I say public repo, for npm it is like this. Okay, like npm. Okay, so you have to see whether this package exists or not. Okay, and this does not exist, which is fine. Why this is fine, I will tell you. Like, they have not published it yet, right? Maybe they are not using it, maybe they don't need it, you know. So that is the thing. And actually this is not what I wanted to show you. I'll just show you something else, like this thing, like dependencies, right? So let's say you have this about window and it is version with this, right? So where this thing is coming from, so it is coming from this npm repository, right? If you see this about window, you will find this thing, and you will also see downloads. People are downloading it in the and they are using it in their project, right? So I will just close the remitly thing. Okay, that means whenever this whole code compiles, right, whenever the whole code compiles, it will look for all these dependencies, right? It can look for, let's say, post css, and it should be there. Definitely it should be there. But if it is not there, then you take it over. Okay, if it is not there, then you take it over. Okay, I will show you how exactly you can do takeover. Okay, but if you see all this main, their core registry UI application is having all these dependencies, and you have to see whether these dependencies are there or not, right? So most of the time it will be there. Like I have seen even like 90% of the time it will be there, right? But sometimes it is not there. Okay, like it will give you 404. Okay, so this is like the high level of looking for it, right? And one more thing is there, like if you see this thing, right, we found this thing is not yet published or something like that, right? We know like nobody is using this at the moment. That means if you create a package with this name and publish it in your own, by your own name, in this whole portal, then if someone uses this name, it will automatically get downloaded. Okay, so don't worry about like all this, like it can be haywire thing for you. But I will like reiterate, I will just make it more simple for you guys. Okay, so let's go back to child network. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let's try again. So again, I will just come here and I will see like all the possible things which I can find here. Okay, but now I know like most of the things reside in javascript is dependent on what you can say, that npm repo. Okay, when things comes to javascript, dependencies are stored in npm repo. Okay, and then what you have to do is, let's say you have here, you are in child network. Okay, so you just look for package json. Okay, so see this, it will automatically give you all the dependent file, like what all projects are using which all dependencies. Okay, so don't worry about this code. Actually this code and all we don't need, we just have to look for package.json file name. Okay, that's it, nothing else. Okay, so only one file it is given, but actually there are more than one. Like every repo will have this thing, so let's just open this one. Okay, so if you see they are using, and they, I think some random guy just created. Okay, what is this send pod? Okay, so he just created this npm macros, and I don't think even he has published this. He's just testing something, I guess. Okay, oh okay, npm macros is there. Okay, last published is 13 hours. Okay, so that means he is using it, like he has published it. That's really great. Okay, so what I am looking from here is, I will tell you. Okay, I'm just looking for package JSONs which are not published. Okay, like which I can find 404. Okay, so I will say JavaScript. Go back. So here we have some more package JSON. Chai network, monster sprouts. Okay, monster sprouts is something new. Let's open this. So again, this guy is also having this small package created. I don't know why this package is, but it is saying 404, right? So how you can take it over, right? But the thing is, there is one more thing actually. You don't have to like take over everything, because it might be the case that they don't need it, right? So I will just tell you how you can take it over. Okay, how you can take it over, and then I will talk about the relevance. Okay, because you can find tons of this takeovers which you might think you can take it over and get the bounty, but it's not like that. You have to take over things which is of value, you know. And when I say value, which means people are using that thing in their repo, right? Like it should get downloaded. You have to wait for possibly a week or so to see someone is downloading it or not, you know. So all those things are there, but I will just walk you through how you can literally take it over at the moment. Okay, so let's say you have this, right? Wallet building Linux Mozilla or whatever, you know. So how do you take it over? Okay, so the thing is you have to just create a folder. Okay, let's say temporary I have created this, so I will just create a new folder. Okay, so let's just give that name. Okay, so the requirement for this thing is your machine should actually have npm command, right? Your machine should have npm command. Okay, so okay, even I will just close it. If you guys don't know like what I'm doing, I will just open a command prompt here. Okay, it's very simple, guys. Now I just created an empty folder and nothing else, nothing fancy. Okay, so I would tell you to just check if you are having npm command or not. So you can just do npm and hyphen hyphen version. Okay, so if you don't have it, install it. It's fine. Like you can just simply go to what you can say install npm. I install npm, right? So you can just follow this as simple as that. Not this. Install node. Okay, this. Okay, if you just download the right version, whatever, like if you are on Windows, you can just install the 32-bit or 64-bit, and just double click and install it. As simple as that. Okay, so it will install the npm command for you. Okay, if you find it all good, if you find it difficult, just let me know. I will create a proper video how you can install the npm command. Okay, it's not that difficult. You just have to install the node.js and it will automatically do it for you. Okay, so now if you see, I have this version 8.13.2 of npm, and now what you have to do is you have to just create npm login. Okay, so once you do npm login, right, this was mine, right? If you see, I am already logged in, but for you it will be something like this, right? It will be something like this, where you won't have been signed up till now, right? So I would recommend to just sign up. Okay, I would recommend to just sign up. It's very simple. Just give it like whatever name you want. Okay, let's say if I find a two email address, I'm already registered with this, so I will just use my another email. Okay, and just give a password. Okay, let's just give any random password. Okay, and agree it, and just verify that you are a human being. Okay, submit it. Okay, what happened? Let's try again. Okay, why is it not right? Okay, awesome. So you can create it, guys, like account creation, like you can do it, right? I don't think there is any difficulty in this, and it will just send you a OTP and whatever, and you will be logged in, guys. It's not a rocket science, okay? So I'll just close this, okay, and you will see something like this. You will just see logged in, nothing else, okay? And under this, you can see what all packages you are publishing, okay? So currently, if you see, I have like two packages, okay? I have like two packages, and you can like publish like whatever packages you want to publish, okay? So now I was actually showing you how we can like publish this thing, like this thing, okay? So I created this repository, right? I just created what you can say a folder which is very empty, right? And here I will just log into my npm repo, right? After having those login activities, you will get your username and credentials. So for me it is like this, okay? And my password is, okay? So email, you have to possibly specify your email, okay? It's a good part, you can just specify, okay? And it also send me an OTP over the email for the login activity, okay? So just get the OTP, okay? This video is getting big, but anyways, I will try to like see if I can complete all this thing in one video, because you don't have to like literally jump again and again to other videos. So I will just enter this 4832. Okay, so I am logged in. Okay, awesome. So what I will do is, if you want to create any node module or anything, you just have to do npm init, okay? And it will automatically create it for you, okay? So now if you see, it is asking for package name, and I gave this as a, what you can say, my folder name. That's why it is just taking this as a package name, which is fine because I need this name only, right? So why would I give unnecessary anything else? Okay, so just hit enter. And version, it's fine, we don't usually care about the version and all, because we have to just make a POC, right? So description, you can just write it test entry point js test command. Even you can just hit enter, 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 and it's all fine, okay? Is this okay? Yes, it's okay. Awesome. So you see, one file is getting created with name packages, right? So the structure of a node module, the structure of a node module is that way only. Like you will have a node.js file, and you also have a starter file. Like every program, or maybe python, or maybe java, right? In java you have a main file, one file which is like the starting point of your application, right? So that is known as the main.java in java, right? So similarly in node.js, that is known as index.java, right? Even if you see here, it would have asked you if you want to create an entry point, right? So yes, definitely we need something as index.java. So I would say notepad, and then index.js. Sorry, not java, it is js, right? So it will automatically like I will just open a notepad, and whatever you have to type, right? Whatever you want your program to do when it runs, like the first thing that you want to do, you have to write here, right? Because why I'm teaching this is because this is where your actual payload will go in, right? Like people usually try to write things in here, you know you can write hello world or whatever, but what I usually do is I usually like try to make a connection to my server from this, okay? Because that way I will get to know, okay, someone has literally run my code, right? And once I have that instinct, like someone has literally run my code, I will just go to my dashboard and see the downloads, you know so I will tell you what you can do here. So so it's very simple. Like even if you don't know any coding, if you don't know any coding, you can use this chat GPT, right? I think hackers are using it for the best possible purpose. So you can just say give me index.js code in node to send a request to the server, which is www.google.com, right? So just give it like this way, okay? And I hope it will give it. Let's see. Okay, so what does this give? Okay, I will just simply copy this and I will just paste it. Okay, I will just save it. Okay, and actually how you can literally test whatever the code you have given in node is very simple, guys. You just have to say node index.js. Okay, that's it. So here if you see, it is downloading all this thing, like whatever the Google is showing, it is downloading things, which means it has hit the server, all right? And ideally, in ideal scenarios, as an attacker, you won't be hitting google.com. You would be hitting your collaborator address like burp or whatever, or you have, if your own has server, right, then you will be hitting that, so that you can like track the hit, you know so this is like one of the way. Okay, and why I just wrote that thing is just to check, right? Something should happen, right, whenever someone runs it. As simple as that. Okay, so awesome, guys. This thing is done. Now what you have to do is you just have to do npm publish. Okay, so see, it will actually publish things to your what you can say account and whatever, because you are logged in, and it will give you this name, right? So if you see here, right, earlier I was having no packages, right? And even if you see, if you go back in the video, you will see this thing was not there, right? If I browse this thing, you won't find this thing on public repo. But now if I see this, right, npm this thing, right? So let it load. I can also just search in my own wallet. So see, this thing is now public, right? And it belongs to me, right? Here, although I have like two files, which is fine. And it will also give you guys like how many people literally downloaded it and all. Okay, so this is how you do any like dependency takeover. Okay, and I literally just showed you for what you can say the node.js, right? This can be done on python. It can be done on any of the like marvin repos which are out there publicly, right? Because things are getting downloaded from here and there, and it's just you have to be make sure, like if they are using something wrong, you just have to put your package in there, right? As simple as that. So this was just a high level, and if you see now I would be having like what you can say three packages of my name, right? But ideally what you should be looking is, let's say I have this package earlier, you know like across for across lab I was doing. Okay, so let it just open. I wanted to show you one more thing. Like it has one download. Okay, uh, weekly download is one, but I think 47 things were downloaded on this, right? So this is how you will verify, like, is it really getting used? Is anyone really using it? you know if no one is using it, then that means like they don't need it, right? As simple as that. So just wait, right? Even for few weeks, like for initial few weeks, I was seeing zero, right? If you see 11 0 0 0 0 0 till what you can say this thing, right? Whole December it was zero, but in January suddenly this spiked, like 47 downloads were there. I don't know who all downloaded this. Okay, but this is the statement that you should be giving while you report things, right? While you report things, you have to tell them, okay, I literally published this, and then this is getting downloaded, which means they are using their dependencies, And if you want me to do RC or something like that, then I can inject some more malicious payload in there, right, to get their IPs and all. So all those things I have literally shown you, like how you can do it, right? And yeah, guys, this was just for what you can say, one of the, what you can say, module, but this can be done on like a lot of things, a lot of things. You can literally do it from this. But again, the last thing that I wanted to tell you was the relevance, right? Because whatever you see is not like you take over, right? So just be cautious when you do this, right? Make sure, like, you are doing mindful things. You're not doing unnecessary hacks here and there, right? Because it won't value them, because they will be asking you only like what is the impact, and then you won't be able to show them, right? So even if you take over things, all fine, all good. And if you just keep waiting, that is also fine. And if once you find some good numbers, like it is getting downloaded and all, then you can literally report it, which is very like a decent way of doing things. Okay. So yeah, guys, this is like one of the way. Okay. And yeah, so I will just stop this video because it is getting bigger and bigger. But I would again say just to look for the relevance, right? Just look for the relevance, because not everything is just a takeover, right? Because it might be the case they are not even using it, right? So yeah, be cautious on that. And you can also find like dependencies under dependencies, like this. This is also another dependency. This is also another dependency, and this is also another dependency. So you have to see whether it is 404 or 200 or whatever, and you can also take it over, you know so I hope this is very clear. And yeah, guys, try it. If you find it all good, all fine. If not, you can literally include this in your CI/CD pipeline, pen testing, and everywhere. Okay, so yeah, it's getting like too heavy, so I will just stop this one. See you on the other video. Take care. Bye.